you are in the right spot. All right, so we are going to get started today. Again, like I said, really jazzed that you guys are joining me here this morning and taking the time out of your day. So here's what we're talking about: no BS habits to kick cravings and start your last diet makeover ever. You're going to be here for about 60 minutes. If you have questions that pop up, I would love for you to drop them in the Q&A box, and I'm going to make sure that I answer them at the end. We're going to be here for about an hour. I'm going to talk a little bit with you here, and then we're going to turn the camera over to this awesome flip chart here, and we're going to talk all about the content part that's going to be, and then we're going to come back here and make sure that you are set up to start your new year off right. So what I'm going to say right now is, in order to fully be here with me, here's what I need you to do. I need you to close out of Instagram, close out of Facebook, stop the email, shut the door. Make sure it's just me and you right now, because I love master classes like this. I do them all the time, and I used to do them and find that I never really stayed focused, so I never got anything out of them until I started actually like closing out, deciding this hour is for me. I want this. No more am I going to be running in circles and starting over again every Monday. So if we are going to be here for 60 minutes together, I really want you to just focus in. All that's in front of you is your pen and your paper, and you're here and committed. Can I get an I'm in the comments? If you're totally ready to focus in for 60 minutes, and I'm going to be giving you all the good stuff that you need to know. So I see you guys coming in here. I'm in. Awesome. Super excited. And I have something actually special for you. If you stay all the way to the end of the master class today, I have a totally free live exclusive training I'm going to give you for free, just as a thank you for sticking all the way to the end. I know how precious your time is. So what this is it's a live masterclass that I did inside of one of my paid programs. And I know you're here to commit to your plan and drop cravings. This masterclass is a 25-minute class, and it comes with a full worksheet, and it really teaches you how to commit and develop a compelling reason, because commitment is something we all struggle with as well. Like, how do we do what we say we're going to do? This is a totally free masterclass. You don't have to sign up or anything like that. I'm going to give you the link for that if you're here all the way until the end. So I'm super excited for that. So stay tuned to the end, and I'll make sure that you have that link. But perhaps, you're waking up this morning and you might be going, I don't know. Is this right for me? Am I in the right master class? Is this what I need to take it to the next step? And I wanted to really affirm that you're here for the right reason. So if this training that you're here right now, this is for you, is if you finally feel like, oh, the scale is moving, and then cravings come in, and all of a sudden you're like elbows deep in a bag of chips, or you're like 3 rows into a box of cookies, and you're like, it feels like it's a compulsion from the inside. You're just like, I can't stop. I'm drawn to the cookies. Do you guys know what I'm talking about with this? This is one of those things that if you feel like you're going in circles all the time, then you are in the right spot. Or you might be in the right spot if you really want something that's maintainable and easy, and something you're just like, why did I make it so hard on myself before? And you don't want all the deprivation and struggle and all the BS that came with the billion other things you've tried. You're probably like me. You've tried stuff before. You've stopped. You've tried. You stopped. You feel like you've done everything, and you don't know what's going to work anymore. I promise you that I have something fun and new for you today. All right. Or perhaps you're here if you want to find a system where you can stop overeating when you said you would, and you're just like, okay, that's it. I'm going to have one piece of cake, 2 pieces of cake, 3 pieces of cake. You know what I'm talking about? So I want you to make sure that you can stick to anything. That's my goal. And maybe you're finally here if you're ready to lose those extra inches that are making you feel self-conscious. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to stroll onto the beach and, feel absolutely incredible without feeling insecure, and stand in the mirror and feel like sexy? I mean, come on. Do we not want to feel that? Like, if any of these you're just like, yeah, that sounds like me, I want to tell you, you are in the right place. And I'm so excited that you are here right now. And I'm a really big believer in synchronicity and timing. And the fact that for some reason on this big internet, you found your way here today, I think there's a reason for that. And I'm really excited to help you move forward in your journey. So the first thing I want to talk about is that there are 3 main reasons why we have struggled to not only kick cravings, but to lose our last 10 pounds. And I want you to know throughout this training, when I say last 10 pounds, it could be your next 10 pounds, because I'm going to teach you that the skills that get you there keep you there. And the skills to lose your first 10 and your last 10 are very similar once you get the hang of it. But there's 3 reasons why you struggle so much. Reason number one is that you start and stop diets that you have no intention of staying on permanently. So you wake up and you're just like, oh, I found this diet on Pinterest. I think I have 6 weeks until the next event. Let's go hard. And then we have this idea that we can go back to normal eating. What is normal eating? We've just become so consumed with the way we eat that everything is so short term. We have no intentions on staying on anything permanently. Reason number two that we struggle is we feel completely out of control when it comes to our cravings. And it's like that, I gotta have it. I need those cookies because it makes me feel better. I need to have a hot chocolate because everyone's having a hot chocolate. I feel weird if I'm sitting here not having hot chocolate. Or those office donuts, I just want one. Is that so wrong that I want one? Why can't I just eat like that and be the body weight I want? Perhaps this is the issue you're struggling with. Number three, you wonder if you'll ever be able to lose those last 10 pounds. So you're like, nothing's ever worked before. Maybe it's me. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Why can't I? Everyone else seems to have such an easy time at it. Why do I struggle so hard? And you start to develop these beliefs that you just can't do it, that there's something wrong and that you're just going to be this weight forever and you're going to feel uncomfortable forever. And you kind of resign to that fact. You stop trying the same. These are the big reasons that I see with the women I work with where they struggle so much. You know, it's coming back to, you start diets, you have no intention of stopping, you feel out of control, can't manage your cravings, and you have this lousy belief system, which completely reinforces the idea that this is no good. I mean, do any of these resonate with you? Give me a yes in the comments right now if you're like, yeah, that one, or one of those, or all of them. I can see you guys here. Yes, number three. Yeah, I hear you on that one. Awesome, you guys. It's good to see your comments in here. All right, so before we jump into the content today, I want to give you a little bit of truth time because in all honesty, I'm about being transparent with you, and I'm a real girl just like you. I'm not a special snowflake. I struggle with things too. And you know, I've always been in pretty decent shape. And I say pretty decent shape, meaning I was like, I really want to share my story. But at the same time, like, I don't have one of those, like, I lost 100 pounds, 80 pounds transformation stories. My change occurred a lot more on the inside. But here's the thing, is like, I always was in pretty good shape, but I didn't want to be in pretty good shape. I wanted to be in amazing shape. Like, I wanted to be able to, you know, walk on to the beach or wear a crop top to the gym and just feel really good. And I wanted that. And I know that so many of us, when you're sitting in that like last 10 to 20 pounds range, it can get a little hard to get motivated. And here's the truth. There was nothing really wrong with how I looked. And so it gets very hard to stay motivated. And the problem is, like, when you're like, I'm kind of close to the end of the goal, you feel like you have a little more wriggle room. And the truth is, it was so hard to get myself motivated. Can you relate to that? I mean, can you relate to that idea of like, I'm getting close to my goal? Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to have one. I'm just going to have one extra glass of wine, just maybe two. And you're starting to feel like, oh, well, you know, it doesn't matter that much. I can start again tomorrow. I'm really close. It was really hard to get motivated to lose weight when I was focused only on the outside. But you know what it wasn't addressing? It was addressing all of the other garbage that we fail to think about. Like, I experience anxiety on a regular basis. And I feel self-conscious around my stomach area sometimes. And I didn't like feeling so bloated, just like, ugh, just like everything was just relaxed and, you know, not toned, and my cravings were out of control. And I had this like belly fat that wouldn't go away. You know, everything else kind of looked toned and I could kind of pull off most of my outfits, but I just wasn't feeling it. So what I realized was I wasn't addressing the actual issues going on underneath, which were far beyond the surface, like the anxiety and all the emotions. So you know what I did is I was like, oh my gosh, I am going to go, I'm going to cut my calories. I'm going to do what everybody else has always told me to do. And then I had this aha moment. You know, I was like, I'm not going to cut calories and eat steamed fish for the rest of my life. That sounds absolutely miserable. And I had this aha moment. I was like, the only way I'm going to make this stick is if I do stuff that I genuinely want as part of my life. I need to stop looking outside to all of these crazy things, these diets that are like so intense that I have no idea how to stay on them. So, you know, I decided that's it. I'm not doing that anymore. And so I went from this to this in just under 3 months. And what I did was I started focusing on what can I do today that I want to keep doing for the rest of my life. And this is exactly how I did this. This was a photo I took not too long ago on just our trip over to the Bahamas, where, you know what, it was one of the first times in my life I stood on the beach and was like, yeah, I feel good. And that feeling, once I grabbed a taste of that, it was so much more motivating than just worrying about the outside. But I gotta tell you, I had this one problem. And yes, I could exercise. Yes, I could eat whole foods. And yes, my timing was great. But the big problem was my cravings. I could not stop giving into the treats, like the cookies and stuff like that. You know, and it would ruin everything. I would feel like I would have this string of progress, and then all of a sudden it would all fall apart. And I would, you know, oh, we'll have Fridays as our cheat day, and then it carried through the weekend, and then every good thing I did during the week would be wiped out because I would wake up Monday morning feeling bloated and gross and decide to do it all over again. So I started searching the internet and realizing that if I could get in front of my cravings, if I could find a way, not just to like live with them, but to get past them, that would be brilliant. So I started searching the internet, and I Googled, and I couldn't find stuff to deal with cravings that wasn't, if you want pizza, here's a good alternative to making pizza, and it's a healthier alternative. What if I just wanted to stop the cravings? What if I wanted to be able to have a bag of chips in the house and not like be eating the entire thing? So I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere on the internet and nobody was doing this. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I made a decision. And I'm gonna tell you, this photo here, this photo was the day that I decided to change my body forever. And I decided to use my knowledge. I've been a personal trainer for 10 years. I have my undergraduate in kinesiology. I have so many nutrition certificates. And I decided I'm gonna take my fascination for the mind, combine it with this, and figure out a solution. So I went from this to this in just under 3 months with applying these simple strategies. And a lot of them had to do with what was going on up here. And that's what I'm going to be teaching you today. And so I want to tell you my secret. And a lot of this I'm going to share with you today. I learned that to get real results, you need a system. You can't just wing it. You can't just wake up in the morning and hope to do well that day. You know that where it doesn't work. I know that doesn't work. My other secret is that to get real results, you need habits in place, solid habits that you can rely on to carry you through. And this is how you drop those last 10 pounds and keep them off forever. And this is why I love teaching this to women, because it is so sustainable. It is something that you learn how to incorporate into your life and keep it that way forever. So, brief overview of what we're going to learn today, and then we're going to hop right in. So, you are going to learn, so excited. Habit number one, no BS habit number one. We're going to start by talking about how to make your last diet makeover ever and create a system for life. So this is your framework. This is setting you up as like, okay, how do I set up my basics of what I can maintain for life, okay? No BS habit number two. After that, we're gonna go into how to eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. The rest is just drama. I love this habit. It's one of my favorites. So the last habit I'm gonna teach you here is how to commit to your plan, and plan being the key word in there, and process through any craving, no matter how intense it is. Those are the 3 habits I'm going to be teaching you today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my slide share here, and I'm going to just pull up our video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to head right back here. I'm just going to tuck this chair out of the way. Okay. Are you ready for some really exciting slides? So this is my fancy pants flip chart here. If you guys are excited to learn about your no BS habits, give me a heck yes, I'm in. I want you guys engaged in the comments here, telling me what you're thinking, asking questions as they come up. I am super excited to share this with you today. So we're talking no BS habits to kick cravings and start your last diet makeover ever. So I'm going to be real with you right off the bat. I told you that I am about transparency, real. I'm not going to fill you with fluff and have you walk away from here and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go download another diet and it'll all work, because we know it doesn't. Losing weight is challenging. It is going to be one of the most challenging things you do in your life, and I want you to understand that going into it. Do you want to know why? The reason I want you understanding that going in is because when you come up against your first obstacle, your first Christmas party, your first birthday celebration, your first donuts at the office, that you know that you're gonna experience a challenge. You're gonna feel a craving. You're gonna feel a little overwhelmed. You're gonna feel a little freaked out. There's gonna be diet mistakes along the way where you eat what you didn't plan. And the thing is, when we download our internet plans or somebody else's workouts and we show up and we make a mistake or we don't stick to it, we think there's something wrong with us. But there isn't anything wrong with us. This is part of the process. It is challenging. You are going to make many, many mistakes as part of this process, and that is so normal. Here's the thing. Do you want to know who my favorite women are to work with? They are the women who have tried a bunch of diets already. Do you want to know why? Because when they show up and say, Tanessa, I'm confused. I say, okay, tell me what you've done and what's worked and what hasn't. Women that have been on 100 diets, tried everything, and perhaps you can relate to that, you already know what doesn't work for you. Do you know how much further you are ahead than somebody who is starting on day one? You already know that there are going to be mess ups, and you already know that there are going to be struggles. So you're not so surprised all of a sudden when you're like, oh my gosh, this is hard. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. That is so key. So here's the thing. We need to understand that learning how to lose your last 10 pounds is a skill set that we need to learn and practice. All of that Googling, all of that Pinteresting, all of that YouTube watching, all of that is learning. We learn. We like to learn. It feels productive. Doesn't it feel productive to go and like write out your diet plan and everything like that? It feels really good, but it doesn't actually create the results. So I'm going to teach you how I learn, practice, and develop these skills, because losing weight is a skill you need to practice daily and for the rest of your life, because what gets you to your goal weight, what gets you past your cravings, is what keeps you there. Does that make sense? So if you are doing something that you cannot maintain, you will go right back to where you started. So here's the thing. When you're trying to drop your last 10 pounds, beat your cravings, fit a dress size, whatever your goal is, I need you to understand this, that it is two different habits and skill sets. This over here, how to actually drop the weight. These are things like scheduling your workouts, showing up for yourself, knowing what to eat, when to eat, the right things to eat. So this whole actually losing the 10 pounds is a skill. The other skill is how to fuel your body. Because here's the mistake we make. We like to go on these diets right here where we're dropping our last 10 pounds and forget about how to fuel ourselves. We're like, hey, we should probably just drop out all the calories and we'll be fine. Everything will go right back to normal. We'll be great. But here's the thing. We need to find and practice the skill of what we need to do to lose the 10 pounds and fuel our bodies at the same time. It's not one or the other. We have to do both. So here is the formula I'm going to take you through today. I'm going to teach you the habit. Then I'm going to teach you, that's the learning part of it. Then I'm going to teach you how to practice the habit. And then I'm going to teach you how to develop it, because weight loss, beating a craving, whatever your goal is a skill that has to be practiced daily. Otherwise, you're going to find you're running in circles. So habit number 1, how to start your last diet makeover and create a system for life. All right, trick number 1, and this is where we get our pen and our paper out. We start taking notes, because this is where you learn the skill. When you get off this training, this is where the next one starts. The practicing starts, and I'm going to teach you how to develop it, but you have to have the notes to go back from. So I highly suggest you take some notes so that we know what we're doing here. Okay, number 1 is you need to start with small changes. We like to go, yeah, I know that. Let's keep going. But here's the thing. We don't like small changes. We think there's something wrong with small changes. We like to go for the big ones because we're like, hey, if I cut all my calories, I'll get results faster and that will give me motivation. Here's the thing. That doesn't give you motivation. It's your thinking about what you're doing. So we need to get in front of your thinking instead and teach you how to think yourself to motivation instead of rely on external things all the time. So we need to start with small changes. So what this looks like for me is making sure these are things I can do for life. So I trained for one of those, fitness competitions in 2014. One of those ones where you get up on stage, you do these kind of things. And the only way I knew how to do it, of course, cut all the calories, jump on the treadmill 5 times a week, and that was great. But when my prep time was done and the show was over, it was all miserable. I didn't want to get on the treadmill again for another hour. So what did I do? I just stopped, and all that weight that I lost came right back on. And that's because I didn't do small changes. I decided to go for it because I was so impatient for my results. You have to ask yourself, am I impatient? So small changes, what that looks like is, if you're going to some calorie restricted thing where you're on your phone all day, scanning all your food, logging all your calories, that's great. But is that something you want to do for the rest of your life? If you can't figure out how to eat without putting everything in an app, you're going to find that the day you decide that that's old news, that's not fun anymore, you might be looking around going, well, how the heck do I tell what to eat? And that's part of the things I'm going to teach you. So small changes, I always have this theory, like I'm not a calorie counting person, because my theory is, if I'm 80 years old, I'm not going to be on my phone counting my calories. I want to be able to eat in a way that just, I know what my body feels like. So my thing is, if there is any math involved in dieting, you're doing it wrong. All right. So just keep that mind open, because I'm going to teach you how to get past that calorie counting thing today. So this is my senior citizen drawing. We want to be able to do it till we're older. So another tip, if you want to start small, change one meal at a time. Why change everything you've ever eaten? Why not just start with breakfast? Or just start with, instead of going out for lunch at work every day, what about just taking a salad? What about just prepping your food the night before for one meal? Starting small, and when you master that habit, you move on. What about just starting by, instead of cutting out all foods that are, processed, why not just start with one? Why not just start with, well, maybe I will do 2 days a week of pasta instead of the 5 I'm already doing, because that is something that's sustainable and you build on those habits. So there is a really neat thing called the compound effect. It's actually a book written by Darren Hardy, and he talks about how these small changes over time are huge. So think about it. While, going down to 2 meals of pasta a week instead of 5 might not feel very significant this week or this month, imagine if you did that for 3 years. So that is what I want you to start understanding about small changes. What about just upping your water intake? What about keeping it fun? These are the things that I want you to start thinking about. So part 1 of creating a system for life is make sure that you're doing small changes that add up over time. Number 2, whole foods that you like to eat. So I want to tell you what a whole food is, because I think it is one of the most brilliant changes you can make to your nutrition plan. Whole foods are anything that came from the ground or had a mother. And when I'm talking about coming from the ground, I'm talking about plants, obviously, and this goes anything from your fruits, from your vegetables, from your grains like rice and quinoa and millet. All of these things that come from plants are fantastic. Now, if you're vegan or vegetarian, you won't be doing the next plan, but what about had a mother? Things like eggs and whole fat dairy and eating wonderful things like fish and meat. These things are less processed. They come in less packaging. How you can tell it's a whole food is if you look at your plate and things resemble how they came out of the ground. So I'm going to compare this to a cookie. If you're looking at a cookie or a bag of chips, it's not really looking like anything that came from the ground or had a mother. So what this tells you is that the further something is from its natural state, a whole food, the more processing it has had. Where we run into trouble with processing is we take something that is in nature, something that is unrefined. So we take something like, let's take a sugar cane. Then we process it down into sugar, and what happens is that sugar is so concentrated that it has a very intense effect on the hormone insulin. When insulin is constantly being pumped into your body, it is very hard to burn fat and very easy to store fat. So the more refined foods you have, and refined foods include things like pastries, baked goods, cereals, breads, pastas, all of this kind of stuff, the more processed a food is, the more of effect it has on how your body stores and burns fat. So we want to move towards a whole diet full of foods that you like. And like I said before, you don't have to knock out everything at once. Why not just start with one meal? Why not just start including a salad? Or if you don't like salad, this is part of it. If you don't like salad, what about you do something like a Buddha bowl or a shake with your vegetables? There are so many ways you can start adding in foods at a time. The last thing we're going to go over in this first habit, and remember the first habit was we're starting that last diet makeover ever, which means this is it. You're going to lose this weight for the last time. No more yo-yoing. We're creating a system for life, and that means making decisions ahead of time. I have worked with so many women. We love the idea of just being able to wake up in the morning and just choose what we want to eat and follow what we said we were going to do, but that's not how the brain works. Our brain is composed of different components. one that came from like the Paleolithic caveman era and one that is from today. Today's brain is evolved. We can make decisions ahead of time. However, our old primitive brain, it's very impulsive. All it wants to do is seek out pleasure. I want to feel good. I don't like that. I want to avoid pain. And I want to just lazy and be efficient. Here is the thing. When you show up to your meal and rely on decision in the moment and willpower to make that decision, there is a higher likelihood that you are just going to throw your hands up in the air and have craft dinner. So I want you to think about this. You're driving home from work and you're hungry. And you're just thinking about, oh, what am I going to eat when I get home? You know what? Today was hard. Today was really hard. My boss wasn't very nice. There's so much work on my desk tomorrow. I'm never going to get through this. I hate my job. So you go home and you reward yourself with a big pot of craft dinner or macaroni and cheese or pizza or whatever it is. Because when you're in those moments of stress, it is very hard to make good decisions. So I am of the philosophy of we want to do decisions ahead of time. What this means is I get my clients to the night before usually, or sometimes the early morning up, depending on your schedule, write out everything you're going to eat for the next 24 hours. And the reason for this is it takes the impulsive choice out of it. So if you decide tonight, everything you're going to eat tomorrow, all you have to do is wake up and show up for yourselves and commit. You need to commit. That's all you need to do. Decision is made ahead of time. You close that book so you don't need to think about it again. And then when that primitive brain, that old brain that's like, you know what? We really should just go out for lunch. I don't know why you pack salad all the time. We don't even like salad. Our brain is starting doing that. You're like, nah, I already know what I'm going to do. I made that decision ahead of time. This is not up for discussion. So when you're trying to create a plan for life and you're trying to start your last diet makeover ever, you need to have small changes. You need to include whole foods to help balance out your hormones and feel amazing. And you need to make decisions ahead of time. This is super simple. We make it so complicated. We like our brains to be like, we don't need to do that. I'm too smart. But I mean, how many times, if you've winged your week without any meal planning, how has that been working for you? So I like to ask that question. So here's where we come to our learn, practice, develop. You have already learned exactly what you need to do right now to start creating a easy to follow nutrition plan. Now, here's where the practice comes in. You just learn those skills. Now, if you just learn it intellectually and go on, you're not going to have any impact in your life. Where you need to decide to make the change is in the practice. You need to take the skills I just taught you, wake up, and put them into play in your daily life. What does that look like? On your 24-hour plan that you do tonight, when you're planning for the whole next day, you need to write down a realistic plan of what you are going to eat that has small changes. So you are not going to write what you think you should eat. You're going to write what you think you will eat with a small 10% upgrade. That's how you do it. Then you need to make that decision ahead of time and choose whole foods for one of those meals, part of that meal, add an extra salad. Little changes are what is going to make the difference. Because here's the deal. There is no way to know. And here's the thing. Every time you go on Pinterest or Google or a fitness mentors page, they are going to try to tell you that there's one way to do it, and it's my way. It's keto, it's paleo, it's vegetarian, it's vegan, it's intermittent fasting. It's this only way, and it's going to work because it worked for me. But here's the thing. Your body, my body, all of us here today, bodies are different. We respond to different foods differently. We respond to different times of day eating differently. So here's the thing. When we put this all into play, there's no way to know if it's going to work for you. The only way you can tell is if this strategy is going to work for you is by practicing. We have to learn it. We have to practice it. And we always come back. If we're trying something new, here's how you assess whether it worked or not. You got to ask yourself, did I get results? By changing my breakfast to include a healthy fat and a vegetable, I did see results or didn't see results? Simple question. Did my change yield results? Question number one. If it's a no, you change something else. If it's a yes, you keep it. Second question you need to ask yourself, how did it make me feel? So if you made that change at breakfast where you're adding a healthy fat and some vegetables, if it made you feel lousy and you felt bloated all the time, maybe you added the wrong vegetable. Like for me, broccoli makes my stomach hurt. Oh my gosh, it makes my stomach hurt. I don't eat broccoli. That's just not work for me. So the thing is, we need to decide for ourselves, how do I feel? If you feel miserable doing it, you either made too big of a change or you need to start making smaller changes along the way. Maybe you need to change something else. So you have to ask yourself, Did I get results? How do I feel? If you got results and you feel amazing doing it and it's easy, you are on the right track. Then you add another small change. This is why you're gonna make mistakes. This is why it's not gonna be perfect. You need to anticipate that in this process of figuring out what works for you. You're gonna encounter some speed bumps, and that's okay because you can handle that. All you need to do is, because you have all your plans, you just need to ask yourself, am I getting good feelings about this? No, yes, move on. We need to always develop. This is how you develop. You ask yourself these questions. You make changes. What we struggle with is saying, I'm gonna do keto, and you go at it, it doesn't work for you, so you quit entirely. Instead of asking yourself, well, did I get results? Did it work? Did it not? How did I feel? Some people love that plan, some people hate that plan, but you need to start taking from these plans what you love and leaving behind what you don't, and start crafting your lifestyle that you can maintain for life. That's what it's about, right? All right, so that was habit number 1. Let's go on to habit number 2. I love this habit. It is so simple, and you can do it anywhere. It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't take any time. It is simple. Eat. This is your no BS habit. Eat when you're hungry. Stop when you're full. The rest is just drama. And I'm going to go over what all of that means. So here's the thing. There are 3 reasons why we as the human species eat food, okay? Reason number 1 is because we should eat. We wake up, we should eat breakfast. It's noon, we should eat lunch. It's 3 o'clock and I'm bored at the office, I should eat. It's dinner time, I should eat. I should eat because my work schedule says so. I should eat because my parents taught me to eat like this. I should eat because after school, I always had a snack at 3:30 in elementary school, so I just continue that on for life. We develop these should eats. We develop these situations in which we eat that have nothing to do with our body actually needing fuel. So remember, those 2 skills that you need to master, practice, and develop is how to lose 10 pounds and how to eat to fuel your body at the same time. So we have to ask ourselves, if we're just eating by a clock, is that really, that's just because we should be eating. It doesn't have anything to do with what your body actually needs. And we have developed such a culture of overeating because we should be eating, right? Second reason is because you want to eat. So this has entirely to do with what is going on in your head. I want to eat as things like, oh, there's donuts on the counter at the office, and I've had a really hard day, and my boss hasn't been very nice. That would make me feel better. I'm gonna eat a donut. Or you go out with friends, everyone's drinking a glass of wine. I really feel uncomfortable being the only one not drinking. I'm gonna have a glass of wine too. Or, anytime you have a feeling or a thought that causes you to eat, meaning you're like, oh, that would really taste good. I'm just gonna have one. This will be fine. I'll just, have this little bit. I'll start again on Monday. It's not gonna hurt. I don't have that much weight to lose. This is when we want to eat, when we're bored. Oh my gosh, you guys ever been bored? So much of nighttime eating is boredom. When you're sitting around at like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., perhaps you got some Netflix on. You know what Netflix goes good with? Popcorn. I'm going to get some popcorn because that would make me feel better. Nothing to do with what your body needs. This is where we start running into trouble because we're eating because some arbitrary time schedule said we should eat, or we were taught to eat, and then all of a sudden we're bored, stressed, angry, frustrated, anxious, any number of feelings, or maybe we just want to bond in a group. We want to eat. So we're eating for these reasons here, but the only reason we should be eating is because we need to eat. Because our body's like, hey, I need some fuel. Grumble, grumble. I need to eat right now. If we're eating just because it's noon, or we're eating just because we're bored, we're not fueling our body, and we have developed this culture of responding to emotional stimulus to eat, and this is where emotional eating comes in, and we end up overeating, and then we end up overweight, and then we feel self-conscious and upset and frustrated ourselves. So what do? We eat in response to that too. But what we actually have to start doing is analyzing our old belief systems. We have all of these funky belief systems about why we should eat. Meal frequency. How many times have you heard, actually, you know what I want you to do? I want you to tell me some of the beliefs in the comments right now that you have about meal frequency, time of meals. What are all the things you were taught about how often you eat, what you should eat, when you should eat, all of that kind of stuff? Like, what have you been brought up to just be, this is normal. This is what I've always done. This is what my parents taught me. This is what I did in school. So I'm just going to read some of the comments here. Some of the comments I see are 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. Yes, I absolutely hear you on that one. What are some other ones? Yeah, breakfast, start the morning with breakfast, definitely. Yeah, so these are exactly what I'm talking about. Meal frequency. How many of you guys have heard 3 meals a day plus snacks? 3 snacks. Because if you don't, your metabolism's gonna drop and then you're gonna gain all this weight. We've probably heard that one, right? Time of meals. You should always eat first thing in the morning to kickstart your metabolism. You should always have breakfast. You should always have lunch, and you should always have a big dinner. Probably heard that one. How about this one? I was brought up with this one. Don't waste food, because there are starving kids in some faraway land that are going to directly be affected by the fact that I didn't eat. This is what I was raised with. This is where my struggle lies. I was always taught clean your plate. Give me a yes in the comments if you were taught this at some point in your life. Clean your plate. Don't waste food. We were brought up to think that, well, if there's food on the plate, I should finish it, disregarding what our body needs, disregarding how we feel. If you're a 6-year-old girl and you're being taught, okay, I know that your stomach is full right now and your body said enough, but I want you to overeat until all of that is gone because that'll make me happy. That's the messaging we're taught. We're taught that it is bad to not finish your food. So we have been so conditioned into this culture of overeating and feeling guilty about throwing food out. The other thing we've learned is if you wait too long between meals, you'll overeat and you'll gain all this weight. Have you heard that one before? I've heard that one too. But here's the thing. A, that's a choice to overeat, and B, that is a complete myth. That has to do with the fact that we have no control over our hunger signals or our emotions in response to food. And this one drives me crazy. We believe that if we don't eat food, we have to eat to make other people happy. I mean, how many of you guys have been to your mother-in-law's house or out for dinner and someone puts something in front of you, or a colleague strolls over and puts cookies or a donut on your desk, and you think that if you say no to the donuts they made, they'll feel bad. Or if you don't eat your mother-in-law's pasta, you'll feel bad. They'll feel bad. But here's the thing I want to teach you guys. You can't make anybody feel anything the same way I can't make you feel anything right now. So I really want you to understand this. The words coming out of my mouth right now are just a string of sentences. They are not good, they're not bad, they are neutral. How your brain thinks about them relates to your past experiences, gives you the feeling. Perhaps right now you're like, yeah, I'm motivated, this is all true, I'm ready to take action. Perhaps you're thinking, I don't know, I'm interested, I'm hearing more. How you're reacting is because of how you're perceiving it. The thoughts you're thinking about what I'm saying. That shows you right now that you are responsible for your own feelings the same way I'm responsible for mine. You can't make someone feel happy by eating. Because if you eat, it is their thought about your eating which makes them happy. It has nothing to do with what you do or don't do. The same thing is if you say no to someone else's donut offering, you're not going to make them feel bad by saying no. You saying no is neutral. They would have to think something in their head to feel that. You are not responsible for how people feel because you do or don't eat what they're put in front of you. I need you guys to understand that. This is where we get caught up in these belief systems that we need to eat 6 times a day, that we need to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Don't waste your food. Oh, but if you wait too long, you're going to overeat. And it makes me happy when you eat. You should keep eating. And we wonder why we struggle with our weight. We are so conditioned to keep eating and eating and eating. This is where we're up against. And so I want you guys to understand when you're struggling with this, it's not your fault. We're conditioned, and this is where I'm going to help you break this. In our third habit, I'm going to help you break this. And once and for all, and you guys are going to find such a significant impact. So here's the question I want you to ask. All your old belief systems. As a grown human, you can now choose which one of these you want to keep and which ones you're ready to toss out the door. Here's what I want you to ask. Who is benefiting from all of this overeating? Do you know that the 3 snack thing in 3 meals, do you know that was introduced by companies that sell protein shakes and protein bars? Because, you should have a protein bar for lunch and probably a protein snack after dinner. These companies wouldn't be a business if you didn't snack all the time. You are lining their pockets. Breakfast. The breakfast cereals companies will go to business if we didn't all eat breakfast right when we woke up. Who's benefiting from all of these things here? You got to ask yourself that. And if it's not you, we need to consider why you're consuming food. So here's our problem. This is us. We have two components. We have our emotional life, and we have the fuel our body needs. Meaning, this is literally the amount of food, the nutrition of the food, the quality of food that our body needs to be thin at a healthy, natural weight, and whatever that is for you. You know, you don't have to be a certain BMI to be healthy. Whatever that healthy weight is for you is because of what the fuel your body needs. The whole foods at the right times in the right amounts. This is what your body needs. Then we have this problem over here. This is called our emotional life. This is what we think about food and how we feel and how we eat. This is the drama. So you remember when I said eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, the rest is just drama? This is the drama. I'm bored, I'm stressed out, I eat when I'm angry, I eat when I'm lonely, I eat when I'm frustrated, I eat at noon, I eat at breakfast, I eat because of an old belief system that has nothing to do with who I am. See, here's the thing. These should be separate. You should be able to, if we've learned, practiced, and developed the skill of eating to fuel and dropping your last 10 pounds, here, eating to fuel your body, right here, is a separate skill from your emotional life. What you eat should have nothing to do with how you feel. They should be entirely separate. But here's our problem. They are so intertwined and mixed up that we can't even tell the difference between the fuel our body needs and when we're eating in response to an emotion. We need to learn to separate out our emotional life from food. This is why cravings are so hard to deal with, because they're usually in response to an emotion. But we don't understand that it is this emotion that is causing us all these problems. So we run into this problem here. So when we go to, we've now learned the skill that if we eat when we're hungry, stop when we're full, the rest is drama, all of those old beliefs, all of those feelings, all of those thoughts, we put it into practice. And here's how you do that. I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you actually let yourself get hungry? And I'm not talking about like, you know, you need to starve yourself. I'm talking about when was the last time you were like, oh, my stomach's growling, I should probably eat something. Because so often we're living in that old belief system that's just not serving us. When was the last time you actually let yourself get hungry? Here's how you practice this. Questions to ask yourself. And this is going to be different for you, for me, for everyone. What does hunger feel like? Let's drop it in the comments right now. What does hunger, comment in the box, what does hunger feel like for you? How does it show up in your body? I'm talking about true hunger, not emotional hunger. How does true hunger show up for you? I'm going to tell you what it shows up like for me. I usually feel an emptiness. I feel a little hollow. I'll get a grumble in my stomach. So I'm just going to read some of the comments here. The growl in my stomach from Sarah. Stacy says the rumble in my tummy. Totally. And I'm not talking about like, oh my God, my stomach hurts, I'm so hungry. I'm just talking about that gentle rumble. This is how you can tell that you're actually hungry. But most of us never ask that question because we're not used to eating when we're hungry. Question number 2, what does satisfied feel like? So I want you to comment again. What does, after a meal and you're satisfied, feel like? Like, that was really good. You kind of feel maybe, I feel light. I feel energetic. I feel like I could go for a walk. I feel fresh. These are the things that I start feeling. And the last question is, what does full feel like? So full is what I like to call that, like, oh, you know what? This is good. I do not need any more fuel. Here's the problem. We eat so far past full because they'll be unhappy if I don't eat it. I shouldn't waste food. This tastes good. We're so used to eating that. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to learn these skills that you need to eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, practice them on a daily basis, and develop them. How do you develop them? What you need to start realizing is you need to start practicing what does hungry feel like, what does full feel like, and continue moving through that. Practice that. Edit that. Because if we're eating when we're hungry, stopping when we're full, that's your body signaling to you, hey, I'm good. If you are overeating all the time, that's where you run into your issues. And we're going to have different struggles on different ends of it. I mean, you might have a harder time waiting till you're hungry to eat, but I have a heck of a time stopping when I'm full. So all of us will have our different work, but that's where the develop comes in. That's why no one plan works for everyone. because our bodies are all different. If you're here having trouble waiting till you're hungry, and I'm having trouble stopping till I'm full, but I can wait till I'm hungry, no problem. My cookie cutter plan's not going to work for you. It's about figuring this out on your own. So learn, practice, develop. Habit number 2. Let's go to our last habit. I know this is the one that you're jazzed for, but I needed you to have those base skills in place first, because if you're going on some crazy diet you're not going to stick to, none of this matters. You'll just end up back in the same boat again. So you need to learn how to create a lifestyle plan, learn how to eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. The rest is just drama. Habit number 3, how to commit to your plan and process through any craving, no matter how intense it gets. Commit to your plan. Committing is the act of doing what you said you were going to do no matter what. This is what we struggle with because, first of all, we didn't address those first 2 habits that I taught you about. But here, we need to start understanding, like, what the heck's a craving anyways? Like, what is it? A craving is a very strong desire that you get, okay? It's a super strong desire, and it gets louder and louder and louder and louder. And then all of a sudden it feels like you're just being drawn from the inside. Like, that's what a craving is, right? And it's a combination of your thoughts and your physiology. So your thoughts are literally things like, I'm feeling sad right now. I'm feeling bored. You know what would really be good with this? You know what? A bag of chips might make me feel better. I'm going to have a bag of chips right now. Like, if you actually start becoming aware of that conscious conversation in your head, and physiology is your other one. Your physiology is literally your body's response. So when you go and you eat something that has a lot of flour came in a nice wheat plant, and then we milled it down, or made it really concentrated, put it on your plate, your body experiences this concentrated burst of dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter. So that's basically a message in your brain that tells you that this is important. And because flours and sugars are so concentrated, your brain goes, this must be so important. I gotta have more. I gotta have way more. Give me more. That's what your body's doing physiologically in the systems of your body. So you're not only struggling against your brain, you're struggling against your body. This is why cravings are so hard to say no to. And it's reward seeking. Because when you eat that sugar, that flour, those cookies, that cake, that chips, that glass of wine, you get this immediate burst of pleasure. That's dopamine in your brain. And your body goes, oh, that feels good. That feels really good. We need to do that more often. You know what? I'm going to make her do that more often, because here's an interesting thing that I like to teach. If I looked at you right now, me and you were sitting here, and I said to you, I want you to go buy me a car. You'd be like, no. And then I say, I want you to buy me a car. I want you to buy me a car. Buy me a car right now. Go out, buy me a car, bring it to my house. Go. You need to go do this right now. This is what a craving does. But you see, here's the thing I want you to understand. Me telling you, go buy me a car, you're like, you crazy girl, because I have no authority in your life. However, you are giving the craving authority. While that craving is not asking you for a car, it's asking you for chips. And it's asking you in that same way where it's just a suggestion at first. You know, can we get some chips? No? Okay, well, what if I say it louder? What if I say it louder? What if I start waving my arms and saying, you need to get me chips or you'll die? And literally that's what happens. But we don't ever think to say, you don't have authority in my life anymore. So we just give in to these cravings. We have to learn how to manage them ASAP. Here's the thing. This needs to be skill number 1, because if you go and start any new plan, any new diet, whatever you start, the faster you learn to manage your cravings, the better you will do, because there is an awful honeymoon period when you remove any types of food from your diet or add anything different. Your body's gonna totally lose its mind. And the thing is, that 2 weeks, it is a little rough. And like I said, I'm about transparency. I'm not telling you this is gonna be a roses process. Like I said at the beginning, it's challenging. But once you get through this initial stage, it is so much easier to say no. But we don't give ourselves the opportunity to get through it, because we get to this and be like, I thought this whole process was gonna be easy, but it's not. So we need to learn. The faster you learn this next skill I'm going to teach you, the faster you can learn this, put it into play, get it out of the way. I'm going to promise you the rest of this healthy life of yours way easier. So I want you to know what actually happens when you have a craving, okay? So let's use the pasta example we were talking about earlier. You remove pasta from your plan because you're like, you know what? It doesn't make me feel that good anyways. I kind of always feel bloated. I get a headache. Let's pull it out and see what happens. So you remove it. Your brain freaks out. You remember how I told you when you eat those concentrated things, those concentrated flour, your body's like, oh, that feels good. We need more of that. But you're all of a sudden you pulled it out and now your body's like, what do you mean we're not getting more? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean we're not getting more? We need to freak out. And your body actually freaks out. Like you get cravings. You feel that feeling of like, it is drawing me from the inside. Do you know that feeling? Give me a yes in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. That feeling where you are literally pulled from the inside. Your body's freaking out. You get a craving. That is your brain spinning your thoughts. That is that dopamine freak out you're getting. You're, oh, yes, look at these comments coming in. Yes, yes, absolutely, 100%. So you get a cravings. And you're like, see this? This is my drawing. Eyeing the chips. This is normal. I can't stress that enough. This, remove the food, brain freak out. You get a craving, it's normal. But here's what we like to do. We like to go, oh man, this is so hard for me. Something must be wrong. Oh, I'll start again on Monday. We don't ever get to see what's on the other side of learning to manage your cravings. And you can only hold out so long. So here's what we think our options are, okay? We think we experience a craving, and I don't know what your thing is, but honestly, mine, bridge mix. Those things get me every time. There's a surprise in every one. You don't know whether you're getting a peanut or a raisin or a jelly bean, and it's covered in chocolate. This, oh my gosh. So here's what we think. We have two options, okay? Option number one, this is what I think willpower feels like. It's like that feeling when you're driving on ice and you're grabbing the steering wheel and you're white knuckling it. You're just like, oh my God, oh, oh, oh. This is what resisting a craving feels like. This is what willpower feels like to me. It feels like garbage. Willpower feels miserable to use. And this is the only skill we have in our arsenal on how to deal with a craving. I'll just put those chips in the other room and I'll be fine. Or, you know, I found a recipe on Pinterest that makes me think I'm eating pizza, but I'm not. Don't you want to just not have the craving? Like, wouldn't that be better? So instead of experiencing willpower, which we think is this here, we think, well, if we're not miserable with willpower, we eat. Willpower, eat. Okay, I want to give you one example that I heard that I love. You know what this feels like? Picture a beach ball, a giant inflated beach ball, and you're at the beach. And you know when you were a kid and you used to push the ball underwater like this, and you used to struggle to keep it down, and then all of a sudden, boom, it popped up? That is willpower, my friends. Holding that ball underwater is you using willpower to fight your cravings. It's a lot of work, it's exhausting, it's not fun, and eventually, the ball pops out of the water, you eat, I'm a bad person, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this to myself? I'm never gonna lose the weight, I'm a special snowflake. We do this all the time. Here's the thing I need to teach you. This is the skill that nobody has taught you. This is why it's so hard, because we do this, okay? Here's the new skill. Craving comes, all right? I really want you to like get into this right now. So I want you to feel like you're getting a craving, and maybe it's my bridge mix. I'm going to use that for my example, and I really want it. And I start feeling a craving, and I feel it in my stomach like a pit. And I can feel my breathing maybe only coming to here. I'm a little anxious now. And I know it would just be so much easier if I could just eat that. And your brain starts going, you know what? It's just one. You don't need to lose that much weight. You're fine. You're fine. You can do this. You can start again on Monday. It's Saturday. Monday's not that far away. Your brain starts talking like that, right? Here's the other option. What if you just listened to all that chatter, felt all that discomfort, and didn't respond? That is the most magical thing. What if you were just to sit there, listen to those thoughts go through your head, feel uncomfortable, like, okay, we're sitting in it. I'm uncomfortable. We're here. So what? Why do we need to either fight it and get all worked up and just be like, this is hard, but my diet plan doesn't have it, or do we eat? Why can't we just listen to it? Like, think about this. And I cannot tell you, most of the women that I work with have felt the same thing. We have never considered the opportunity or the option, of just feeling uncomfortable. What if we just sat there and dealt with a little bit of discomfort? We are grown adults, but we have never been taught that there's this third option. We think we need to fight it and be miserable, make alternative meals and hide the food, or we need to eat it. But what if it was just, all right, I am feeling a little uncomfortable right now. And that's okay. Because you know what happens? We never try this skill. We never practice just being uncomfortable. Because you know what happens? If you sit there and be like, ugh, my stomach doesn't feel very good right now. I feel really tense. My brain is racing, and you sit through it. Do you know what happens on the other side of that? It goes away. It goes away, but we never ever get that. Here's a good example. How many times have you thought you really wanted something, and then all of a sudden you didn't, you just kind of let it be there and you got distracted and it went away? We never actually practiced that. And I want you to understand what is actually going on in there, because this is the difference. We learned the skill, meaning you don't fight it, you don't eat it, you just be uncomfortable. And what is so bad about being uncomfortable? I have to ask you, like, what are we worried about might happen if we just are uncomfortable for 15 minutes? We're willing to throw away everything we want, all our goals, our dreams for ourselves, how we want to feel, because we don't want to feel uncomfortable a couple times. So we need to start thinking about this. So now that we know that skill where there's just that option to feel uncomfortable, we practice conditioning. We practice this skill. So I want to teach you about something called conditioning. There was an experiment done. This is called the Pavlovian dog experiment. Perhaps you've heard of it. If you haven't, I'm going to go over it really quickly. So what they did was they had a dog. And what they did was they used to ring the bell and give the dog food. And they would ring a bell and then present the dog with food. And they did this a whole bunch of times. What they started to notice is that when they rang the bell, the dog would start drooling in anticipation of the food, even though the food hadn't shown up yet. And so what they noticed had happened is the dog had been conditioned that when it heard a bell, food was coming. So it would start salivating in anticipation. This is called a conditioned response. The brain of this dog understands when the bell rings, the food shows up, so we might as well get prepared and get the salivary juices going so we can start eating it. This is what has happened to you. This bell is your craving. It's ringing, meaning you're thinking, I want those chips, I want those chips, I want those chips, I want those chips. But our version of drool is you going to eat the chips. So ring the bell, oh, you're having a craving? Eat the chips. The reward in our case is actually the dopamine rush. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter that when we get a flood of it in our brain, it produces the feeling of pleasure. So you know what I'm talking about. When you enjoy your favorite treat, there's this instant sense of pleasure and gratification. You have conditioned yourself that when you get a craving, you respond and get this massive rush of feel-good hormones. So your brain knows all it has to do is ring that bell and it's going to feel good. You've given it no other option. So here's how that experiment went on. They said, well, we've conditioned this dog to drool every time the bell rings. Can we fix that? Can we undo that? So what they started doing was they rang the bell. The dog would start salivating and drooling, but they didn't give the food. And they would ring the bell, dog would drool, no food. They kept doing that. If they did that enough times, they rang the bell, the dog stopped drooling because the brain had learned that bell doesn't mean food anymore. This is how I want you to relate this to you. Right now, you are conditioned that when you get a craving, you respond by eating, your brain goes, good job, pats you on the head. That was amazing. You're awesome. What we need to start doing is letting the bell ring. Let it ring. When you let that craving happen and you listen to it happen, and you don't fight it and you don't eat and you just don't respond. You don't give it a response. That craving extinguishes itself, meaning when the craving happens, you no longer eat. Your body doesn't expect that reward of dopamine. You condition your body to let the craving happen without a response. This is how you get past cravings. It's not about by hiding things and making shortcuts. It's about actually like looking at how the body works, how the brain works, how your physiology works. This is how you do it. When the craving happens, you do not respond. You do this enough time, your brain stops making the craving because there's no reason, because it never gets a response. We need to understand this. This is the same thing as, like, think about this. You're here with me right now. Your phone on your house, does anyone even have house phones? Your house phone rings. And you hear it ring and you're like, I should probably answer that. I should probably answer that. No, I'm doing this right now. This is what is happening. By letting that phone ring, that is the equivalent of letting that craving be without answering it. Let the bell ring without answering it. When you do this enough times, you break this cycle, that cycle of craving, eat, reward. You need to break that, but you need to do it consistently with enough practice. You need to get good at sitting in discomfort. Cravings are not comfortable. They're not supposed to be. It's normal. We need to practice just being okay with it. So we learned what a craving is. We're practicing just listening to it without responding, without freaking out. I feel uncomfortable. That's okay. What am I making it mean? Now we have to develop it. Develop it means refining your strategy. So we have to know what gives cravings their power. What gives them their power is the fact that they are conditioned. They are conditioned. We know, our brain knows if we do a craving, we get food. We need to break that conditioning by practicing long enough, not responding. I'm going to be super honest with you guys. That first 5 days to 2 weeks, it's going to be work. But why are we so afraid of putting in a little work? I want you to show up for yourself and be like, hey, I can handle 2 weeks. I'm fine. I can do this. I've done this before. I am strong enough for this. I don't let some ancient part of my brain that all it wants is pleasure. I don't let that control me anymore. This is what I want from you guys. Cravings feel important because they're impulsive. They get louder and you give them authority. By listening and not responding, you take that authority away. Lastly, cravings are powerful because of that pleasure rush that comes afterwards. If we stop feeding our body that constant dopamine rush and pleasure, it extinguishes. It stops expecting that whole cycle. So what we need to do is plan for it. This means we start tomorrow, day one. Maybe you start right now. And you know that no matter what, I'm committed. For the next 2 weeks, I'm going to sit in discomfort because I can handle it. And I am already planning that when I wake up tomorrow and there are office donuts, I already know that my body's going to say, you should have one of those. I'm planning for that. I understand it's going to happen. I understand I'm going to have to sit through discomfort for just a little bit, and I will be fine. By anticipating, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much easier it makes when you know those little road bumps are going to come. You have your plan you made ahead of time. The changes are small. You're starting to eat more whole foods because it's those processed foods. I'm going to tell you this right now. The more a food doesn't look like its original source, like came from the ground, had a mother, the more it's processed, the more it's refined, the heavier it drives those cravings. This is what I need you to understand. So this is the bulk of the lessons we're going to cover today, but I want to sit down and have a chat with you guys and make sure that all of your Q&As are answered. So I'm just going to have a seat down here. I'm just going to switch over to my other screen. All right, so you guys should be able to see me back here now. So what I really want to know from you guys right now is, what do you think? I'm just going to open up our chat box here. What do you guys think? I mean, does this make sense? Can you see what a powerful strategy this might be for your health? It was transformational for me. It's worked for my clients. And this is something I want you to start implementing in your life. So I don't know why you showed up today, but perhaps it's because you want to create a sustainable plan that has you seeing results. You're tired of hopping on and off all of these diets that you never stick to, and you want a lifestyle change. Or perhaps you're not interested in battling food cravings for the rest of your life and making, recipes which should, manage these cravings, and you do a week of clean eating and you fall off. Maybe you're just not into that anymore. Or maybe you showed up today because you're ready to stop feeling bloated and telling yourself you're confused all the time and I can't help it. And you just want to feel confident and you want to feel good in your body and you want to end this whole struggle with your weight. And maybe you're just ready to stop being a slave to calorie counting, start listening to your body and pick up a system that teaches you how to commit to your plan, no matter what obstacles come up in your life. And I want you to know that this system, it works for everyone. Remember, I'm not special. I'm not a special snowflake. And I want you to know that if I can do this, so can you. And what I've learned is that I have the system that takes you from where you are now and helps you create a very healthy lifestyle that you can satisfactorily wake up to and do until you're 80. And it has you dropping those last 10 pounds and no calorie counting, no gimmicks. It's about eating real foods in the right times, in the right quantities. This is what makes the difference. So I gotta ask you, do you want to know how to kick your cravings and start your last diet makeover ever? And I'm just gonna open up the comment box over here because I really want to hear from you guys right now. Let's see. Makes a lot of sense. Seems simple now. Yeah, I hear you guys when you're saying totally. In the end, I have to be accountable and show some willpower. Yeah, you guys, this at the end of the day, these are the skills that you need. And I have taught you the skills, right? Remember, we need to master these skills and practice them daily. And it's not just practicing them, it's evaluating. Are they working for me? Are they not working for me? How do I feel when I put these into play? Am I getting results? And if you guys are right now, if you're sitting there going, yes, everything she's saying is making sense. This is what I've needed. No wonder it's been such a struggle before. I can't believe that this is something I've never tried. Well, you know what? If this sounds like you, I would love to invite you to join my program, The Last Diet Makeover Ever. It is an amazing program that I have come up with, and it's a cutting-edge 6-week diet makeover program for women who want to find a sustainable lifestyle that they really, really love and feel confident in their skinny jeans. And you darn well bet that I wore my skinny jeans today to do this because I remember a time when they didn't fit as great as I wanted them. And I teach you how to do this without counting a single calorie. And the Last Diet Makeover program it gives you a step-by-step system for learning how to kick your cravings and become a fat-burning machine. I teach you all about your hormones, which hormones are the ones that are causing you to store fat, and which ones are the ones that are giving you so much trouble. It's a simple system you can stick to for life. Now, Ola was in one of my previous runs of this program, and she, after completing this program, says, you know what, I feel so much better about myself. And it's not just about how her body looks, but how she was able to follow through, because that's one of those skills I teach. It's all about commitment. And before she did this program, she didn't know what to do, but since she joined, in the 6 weeks we ran with this program, she lost 9 pounds. 9 pounds in 6 weeks from making simple changes. And the great thing is, she says it's so easy to follow this program and allows changes to happen gradually. It was never overwhelming, and everything comes at the right time. Wouldn't you love to be able to say that about your lifestyle, about your plan? And so this is why I've created this program, because I found this solution that worked, and then I took it out into the internet and offered it, and it started working for so many women. And I want to share with you a little bit about it. It's a 6-phase system that helps you kick cravings and drop your last 10 pounds. It takes what we've covered today and goes on a step-by-step, here's your worksheet, here's a checklist basics. It has 6 phases. And it's really, I feel like this program just put together magically. Stage 1 is a fresh start. We teach you how to create that 24-hour plan I was talking about, what whole foods you need to include more often, what foods are inflammatory, what ones aren't, and I teach you how to do a portion sizing system that uses your hands. That's why we don't calorie count, because you use your hands in a way to kind of estimate your food so that you can take this anywhere. That's why diet plans don't work, is because you go out to eat somewhere and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't think I can put this in my calorie counting app. But what you can do is use your hands to help you estimate. When you're done stage 1, you move on to stage 2, which is foundations. It's all about intermittent fasting. And I know right now your brain's like, fasting? What do you mean? Intermittent fasting is amazing. There's so much science right now. What it basically does is it takes your day of eating, which is probably, you're eating over 14 to 16 hours a day, and it lets your body rest and it lets your hormones rest so that you can start accessing all your stored fat as fuel. And the nice thing is there's so many ways to do intermittent fasting. So we kind of find a way that works for you. And we start to just take that 14 to 16 hour eating window and shorten it into like 8 to 10 hours so that you're still getting the nutrition and the fuel you need, but you're giving your body a chance to actually access all that stored fat. Then we go into phase 3, which is building a winning mindset. So remember those diet mistakes we talked about? They're going to happen. Totally normal. But what I do is I have a process that I take you through for when you make the mistake, understanding why you made it and what you can learn from it so that you don't make it again. We make the mistake of making a diet mistake, falling off our plan, and we never actually look at what happened. Why did it happen? What triggered it? So I teach the women in the program to stop making that mistake. And it's a really neat process, which helps them, focus in on their changes. Stage 4 is all about intuitive eating. This is where we talk about that. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. I call that the hunger scale. So I take you through a process of figuring out where you need to be when you're hungry, like how hungry is too hungry, how is just enough, and what does full feel like? And I start having you understand that inside your body. So that is the other way that we really get past that whole calorie counting thing, by what your body really needs. Stage 5 is launching. We talk about joy eating here. So this is taking the foods that you love, the ice cream, the pizza, that kind of stuff, and planning it in a way that doesn't kickstart your cravings again, and that you can still have it and enjoy it. I mean, the women that are in my program, we enjoy ice cream, we enjoy foods out, we enjoy pasta, but I teach it to you in a way which doesn't restart this whole cravings process. Because if you restart it again, you have to go back through it. So we need to learn the smart way to do that. Stage 6 is exercise and self-love. I teach you about a topic that I call minimum baseline. So it is the minimum we commit to, and then how to learn to love exercise and get excited to get up in the morning. So we go through that. So I want to share with you a little bit about what you'll get inside this program. You get this 6-phase complete diet makeover system. I get you taking actions with weekly audio lessons, workbooks, checklists, success pages, all of that step by step to help you make over your diet from the beginning. There's so much support as well. We do accountability check-ins, challenges inside of our Inner Circle Facebook community full of women on the same journey as you. And of course, there's lots of coaching. I am in that group incessantly answering questions, making sure that you are getting exactly what you need to succeed. And on top of that, I do live trainings each week. I hop on, I teach you about a concept. Maybe it's commitment, maybe it's maintenance phase, maybe it's how to break a plateau. And we talk about that. And we do lots of Q&A. And this is where the magic, really happens. But I got to share with you, the lessons and all of that are important, but where the magic really starts is inside our Inner Circle Facebook community. One of our members said, having the Facebook community group and being able to share and read others' experiences, struggles, and wins helped hold her accountable. And it was nice to know she wasn't alone. So when you have that craving and you're feeling like, gosh, this is so hard to feel uncomfortable, you look around and realizing that, girl, we're all in this together. And we are learning how to be better than our brains. We are learning how to think better than we feel, which is an amazing concept. So that Inner Circle community is available as a Facebook group. I post in there regularly, making sure you are on top of it. But here is something special. I'm offering a bonus for the January enrollment cycle. It is the January Virtual Fit Gym. This is exciting because this is the first time I've ever offered the Virtual Fit Gym before. What it is going to be for the month of January, in addition to you working through your lessons and changing your diet, we are going to do a focus on the fit part of your lifestyle, meaning what do you want to do with your exercise? Check-ins, challenges. We are putting a focus all about you reaching your exercise goals because yes, nutrition is a big part of it, but exercising makes us feel good. When we feel good, we're going to feel a lot better sitting through those moments of discomfort. So that January Virtual Fit Gym is inside the Facebook group. There's going to be challenges, posts. We're going to share our workouts, everything in there to keep you motivated for the month of January. But I'm also offering something special called a fast action bonus just because you showed up here live on this masterclass here. If you choose to enroll in the Last Diet Makeover Ever program by 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight, you are going to get this fast action bonus. What I'm going to give you is a 30-minute one-on-one call with me. So we get on Zoom, which is this platform we're on right now. Me and you have a face-to-face conversation. I want to figure out where you are stuck, what you are struggling with the most, where you are struggling the most, what environment is triggering you. And I'm going to help you personalize this experience by putting steps in place to help you. This one-on-one call is exclusive to this 24-hour fast action bonus. It will go away tonight. So I want you to make sure that you jump on this. If you are on the fence about joining, make this be it. This is something I normally only offer inside of my one-on-one VIP program, but I'm doing it if you want to jump in on it today. And I want you to just understand too, like, this program really works. I mean, these are some of the things that the women are saying after only being in the program for 2 weeks. I mean, you can see Nicole here. She dropped 3 inches off of her abdomen. I mean, can you imagine in 2 weeks from now having 3 inches off your abdomen? What would that be like? Is that something you want? Navneet says she's way less bloated than she's ever been. She's down 7.8 pounds. What the heck? And Jenna says she's down 6 pounds since day 1. This is something where you are getting that little bit of that motivation from the fast kick start, but you're also getting the long-term benefits of waking up enjoying what you're doing. So I gotta ask you, are you ready to learn how to create a healthy lifestyle you love, feel confident in those skinny jeans, and drop your last 10 pounds? If you are saying yes to that, you're probably also saying, all right, tell me about the money, tell me about the investment. What do I need to know in order to sign up today to get me started on this? Well, I want you to tell you that if I took all the lessons, the Facebook community, the audio trainings, the worksheets, and I offered them to you all separately, the total value would be $887. But this doesn't even include the fast action bonus. But I want you to just imagine something for me for a sec. Like, I really want you to think about this. If all this program did for you was finally give you the body that you've always wanted and be able to maintain it effortlessly, like, would it be worth it if that's all the program did? Or what about if it just stopped your food cravings? I mean, can you imagine having a life in which you didn't crave food all the time? That you just felt great? And that when they did come up, you were like, nah, I'm good. I'm fine. I can do this. I've done this before. And because you learned how to eat the right time and the right amounts, I mean, would that be worth it? Or, would this program be worth it if I just showed you how to commit to your plan? You created your plan based on, we've learned we're all different, your body, the foods your body loves, having plenty of healthy recipes. If I taught you just how to commit so that you knew how to deal with it on those days you just wanted to say F it and not do it, would it be worth it? And this is the part I think nobody's teaching. I have not come across any other things online that are teaching this whole idea of just being okay with being uncomfortable, learning how to process through mistakes in a way that learn, and pairing that with what to eat at the right times and the right quantity. I think weight loss and getting into those skinny jeans is a 50-50 thing. I think 50% of it is, the exercise and the food, but I think the other half of it is getting over your mental BS, getting over your excuses and the drama and the stuff you tell yourself all the time about what it should mean to lose weight and how it should look after and what this should be like and it should be easy and what's wrong with me. I teach you how to deal with that. So I have to ask you right now, is this you? Are you ready to actually make this change? And are you ready to find a system that you love? Are you tired of struggling with your weight all the time? I only open the Last Diet Makeover Ever program a couple times a year because I want 100% focus on the women I'm working with. And right now we are opening for the new year and we are gonna kick off this week. And I want you to also meet one of the women that went through my program, Kimiko. She said she didn't know what the heck she was doing or how to fuel your body before. And she said she's way happier now because she's seeing results. She's another woman who lost 10 pounds in the 6 weeks we were working together. And she did it without counting calories or eating food she didn't like. And the best thing I love here, she goes, I ate only when I'm hungry. And that's even awesomer. Like, to just be able to listen to your body and not always feel overfull and stuffed all the time. if you really love this, I want to just iterate what you get here. You get my 6-phase complete diet makeover system with weekly audio lessons, success checklists, worksheets, workbooks. You get all of that, and that on its own is a $297 value. You get your accountability check-ins, challenges inside our Inner Circle Facebook community, which has a $97 value. You get live weekly group coaching calls with me and weekly Q&As where I'm making sure that every question you ask gets answered. That's a $197 value. The bonus I'm offering for the January enrollment of this program is the virtual fit gym, which on its own, $199 value. Lastly, fast action bonus. So if you enroll by 11:59 p.m. tonight, you're going to get that 30-minute one-on-one coaching call with me. So if you add up all of these things and were to, get them separately, it would be an $887 value. But I'm not going to charge you that because I really want this for you. So what I'm going to offer you today is you could get started now for only $199. That's your investment. You can do that by going to TanessaShears.com/join. So if you head over there, what you'll notice is there's a bright red box at the top of the screen. All it says is register for January. You click that. What that's going to do is that's going to take you to a PayPal form that looks just like this. This is your final step. So all you have to do is fill out the PayPal form. Then within a couple hours, I'm going to shoot you this email, this awesome, you're in, here's what to expect, here's your prep week, everything that you're going to need to know to get started. I'm going to send you our VIP dashboard, everything that's involved in this. It's going to be super exciting to start this January secret. But I totally understand. I mean, I have enrolled in so many online programs. I love online learning because it's always self-paced, right? Meaning you can be supported, you can ask questions, but you're not on someone else's schedule. You don't have to show up for an 8 a.m. class every day. But I know how hesitant it might feel to be like, I don't know, is this right for me? I'm nervous. So what I did was I actually asked the women in the program, I said, what would you want someone to know who's on the fence? I want you to know, here's what they said. Sarah said, it actually made my goals feel possible and sustainable, and it is worth every penny. Melissa says, Tanessa makes you feel confident and accountable, and it is a system of lessons that you can follow for the rest of your life, not 6 weeks only. She's gotten her confidence back, beaten her plateau, and knows she can continue on till I'm 80, and that's one of my big things that I say over and over again. And lastly, Kamiko says, this will change your life and how you look at food, and to know that she actually planned all her meals by herself and she's seeing results is amazing. I mean, she is so excited for that, and they want you to know that this changed their lives. And that's how I'm so confident that I can say I know it's going to work for you, because it's worked for me. I took it to them. It worked. It's worked for all the women I've done this through, and that's why I want you in the group here too. So when you're looking at what you get, you'll get that 6-phase diet makeover program with the weekly audio lessons, workbook, success checklist, accountability check-ins and challenges in our Inner Circle Facebook community, live weekly Facebook group coaching calls with me, and all the questions you ever had, I can answer them for you. The bonus of the January virtual fit gym, so you can get your fit plan started, stay accountable, join in our challenges, and the fast action bonus if you enroll by 11:59 p.m. tonight, that one-on-one call with me so that we can personalize this entire experience. So remember, the entire value for that is $887, but you can get started today for $199 just by going to TanessaShears.com/join. And if you have questions beforehand, here's my email. It's pretty straightforward, Tanessa@TanessaShears.com. Feel free to reach out, ask all the questions you want. If you want clarity on anything, I'm here to make sure that this is something that is a really good fit for you. So if you're saying to yourself, I don't know how to kick my food cravings, I don't have a system for planning healthy meals, I can't stick to a plan for more than a couple weeks, and I really want to lose my last 10 pounds, this is a system for you. And one of the other things I forgot to mention that's totally new this time is there are workbooks that are involved for each week to keep you on track. And also, one of the most amazing things is I give you 130 trainer-approved recipes to get you started on your healthy journey. So you don't need to go searching Pinterest or Google for healthy stuff. I've got that for you. I teach you how to meal plan, everything you need to get started on your last diet makeover ever. So if this is something you're going to do, I want you to head over to TanessaShears.com/join and sign up now. So now that I want to say thank you for making it all the way to the end of the program, I promised you this bonus for sitting all the way to the end of this. So that bonus training on how to commit to any plan, no matter what, that is my gift to you, along with the worksheets, a 25-minute exclusive masterclass that I did inside one of my paid programs. All you have to do is go to snessashears.com/bonus class, and you can get that. You don't need to opt in or anything. It's just there for you to watch and review and get committed, develop a compelling reason, and move forward with your goals. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Q&A here. And I want to see if you guys have any questions that might be lingering, either about the content, about cravings, about, making your last diet makeover, or if it's about the program. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to let you guys, if you have questions, feel free to start asking them in here. I can see a couple popping in right now. Let's just see. So is this $199 a one-time fee, and then is there a monthly fee after that, or how does it work? So it's a one-time fee. So what the $199 gets you is you're going to get access to the program for the 6 weeks of the program, and then I give you a bonus 2 weeks to catch up. Because sometimes life happens and you're like, I can't get through it all this week. So what I do is the lessons stay completely available to you for 8 weeks, meaning if there are 6 stages, 6 weeks of content, then the 8 weeks will give you a couple weeks to catch up and to review. And remember, all of the worksheets and stuff like that are downloadable, so you'll have those for life. So all you have to do is download the workbooks and print them off, and you have everything you need. But the $199 is 100% a one-time fee. There's nothing that comes after that. So how this program kind of works, so that makes it a little bit different, is I run this program in cycles. So what that means is 3 or 4 times a year, I'll open up the doors to the program. And sometimes you'll find that you're getting really good at whole foods and intermittent fasting, and you want to spend the bulk of your time focusing on that. You're like, you know what? I'm seeing such drastic changes with just whole foods that I didn't get to the part on maybe the hunger scale or talking about cycling your carbohydrates around your workouts. So we didn't get to that. So sometimes I've had so many women join us again. And what I actually do is I offer a discount. I offer a discount to come back for another cycle. So you can join us again in the future if you feel that you want to. You're not obligated to in any way. But if you feel like, hey, I loved the community, I really want to fine tune this, you're more than welcome to join us for future cycles as well. But like I said, you're able to download all the worksheets and workbooks and stuff and take it with you. So you'd just be rejoining for the community and any updates to the program if that's something that you wanted to do on there. Sometimes I find that the women, they just want to do stage 1 and 2, and they're seeing great results. And I love the idea that meet yourself where you're at. If you're having success here, that's great. Why would you want to keep adding stuff on if you're finding success here? So that's sometimes why women come back for future cycles, because they're like, oh, I want to do stage 3 and 4 now. So that is an option. And then they have me available to answer the questions, the weekly trainings and stuff like that. Any other questions popping in here? I follow a mostly vegan or vegetarian diet. Will this work for me? Absolutely, because I don't believe in cookie cutter meal plans, because they don't work, because it teaches you nothing about the real life. Here's my thoughts on meal plans. If I were to give you a guitar right now and say, play me a song, but let's say you don't play guitar, you'd be like, huh? I can't, I don't know how. I didn't learn any of these skills. This is the same way with creating a healthy lifestyle. Handing you a meal plan teaches you nothing about why those foods were chosen, how to make alternatives, how to portion size. So you blindly follow it, and then the day when you get bored of that, you have no idea how to do it on your own. So this whole thing is, I teach you, here's whole foods, here's how they affect your hormones. Let's start with creating a plan. Here are the recipes which I think will support your body. Let's test it. I'm all about testing. And the women in my group have been able to find plans that are specific to them. This is what makes it sustainable in life. You're not following my plan for my body, somebody else's plan for somebody else's body. We're working together to literally figure out, okay, this works, this doesn't work. And then we don't get so upset about all the mistakes. This is where, the great part about it comes. So regarding being vegetarian and vegan, absolutely, there are no issues with that whatsoever, because you choose the foods you put on your plan, and we test to see whether they work for you. So you can definitely have any kind of, meal planning option on here. The next question that comes up, what foods do I have to give up? None. I've had women that have kept sugar or flour or certain things in the whole way through the program and still gotten results. What I do, everything that I teach you is based on science. Everything tells you, here's what the research says. here's how these foods affect your hormones. Where do you want to start? Meaning I show you the evidence and then you say, okay, that makes sense why this food makes me store fat. I'm going to try and bringing it out. I also teach you, don't forget how to plan that stuff back in, because hey, I definitely enjoy my pizzas on Friday nights and I still can and maintain my weight easily. And that's a skill. And that's to do with that whole decisions ahead of time topic we talked about. So I really want you to consider that there is an option when you're out there in the world living your healthy lifestyle that you can still enjoy drinks out with friends. There's no foods you have to take out. It's about learning how to plan them properly so that they're not impulsive. You're not reigniting the cravings. That's the big thing, is that I teach you how to implement these foods in your diet without having them turn you back to cravings. And that's the hard thing on here. Let's see, another question on here. How do you know you aren't overeating if you aren't counting calories? That's a brilliant idea. So here's the thing. We have a completely skewed idea of what our body actually needs, what our body needs to function, what our body needs to fuel ourselves. Because remember those old beliefs where we talked all about meal frequency, time of day, what our parents told us we should eat when, we should eat, all of those things. So if you're not, how to tell if you're not overeating. So we use the hand-sized portion system. So that will give you a rough idea of your calories per day. But we also teach you, well, if you eat when you're hungry and you stop with your when you're full, and we start to separate that emotional life from that whole life where you're eating for fuel. We teach you how to separate that so you can start assessing what your body actually needs, and you settle into that groove of understanding, oh my gosh, I never needed the amount of food I was eating. But at the same time, you're eating what you need, because if you get hungry, you eat. There's no rules that say you have to sit there and be hungry and miserable all the time. It's just not eating because you feel like eating or you want to eat or you should eat. Learning what your body actually needs, and that's how it works, because we're tuning in. Will I be able to ask you questions between calls if I get stuck? 100%. So in the group, we have our own hashtag system. We have hashtag ask if you just have a question that you want to ask. Hashtag coach if you want me to ask the question when you're typing it in, if you want my answer. We have wins. You can share your wins. We can share recipes and stuff like that. But if you type into the Facebook group, hashtag coach, help me out with this, you bet that I'm in there answering every one of your questions. And of course, if it's a private question that you don't want to put in the group, I have a way for you to message me personally too, like that. What if I've tried a million diets and workout plans that didn't work before? That's totally fair. What I want to share with you is that's normal. You're learning. You're learning what works. But what my process does is differently, is I have you start assessing what out of that didn't work and what did work, because we like to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We like to take all the stuff that did work about it and completely throw that out. Well, what if we found a way to say, okay, well, that really worked and I liked that, and let's piece together these things, and these foods feel good and those foods don't, and these foods cause me to bloat up like a fish, and we start to create a plan that works for you. And the reason why this works is because you're creating it based on your body. You're not following someone else's plan. You're not, trying to conform to how someone else's body works. I mean, that's the magic of it. And we need to all understand that we're all on different playing fields with this. How long do I get access to the lessons for? Like I said, they are live for 8 weeks. But the program only has 6 weeks worth of lessons, so you can either take a break, a breather week in the middle, or you can just have them on the end to review. But like I said, you can download everything. How much time is it going to take me each week? I'm worried I can't keep up with a whole bunch of lessons. That's totally fair. So the audio lessons are audio for a reason. You can listen to them while you're cooking dinner, while you're in the shower, while you're driving your car. You can listen to them while you're putting your makeup on in the morning, which is what I absolutely love to do. So the audio lessons are part of that. Then realistically, it comes down to just implementing the meal planning systems and going through some of the worksheets. But I want you to think about this. You're likely already spending time meal planning or cooking or grocery shopping anyways. So it's just about taking those times you're already spending, making them more efficient. So instead of cooking 7 times a week, maybe we can get you cooking 4 times a week to save you some time, right? So this is how we start implementing things like that. So in total, honestly, if you were going to say, including time spent to lessons in which you could be multitasking, you might be looking at 1 to 1.5, 2 hours a week, but it can be totally split up. It doesn't need to be like one long study session. So you could do 15 to 20 minutes each morning and be completely confident in what you're doing, or you could bang it all out in a Sunday and be, ready to implement for the Monday. So that's really going to be based on on your schedule. So just looking to see if there's any other key. Oh, what is intermittent fasting and how does it work? Yeah, so like I was saying, trust me, when I heard the words intermittent fasting for the first time, I was like, you're crazy. Intermittent fasting, that sounds dangerous. But what research is actually finding is that it is one of the most amazing ways to regulate our hormones. And fun fact, is that the Nobel Peace Prize was actually recently just won in work on intermittent fasting as a way of increasing longevity and fighting cancer. So what it allows you to do is have a rest from that digestive phase. And we take your eating, so say you normally eat from 7 a.m. in the morning to 9 p.m. at night. You're eating over 14 hours, which means your digestive and your food breaking down hormones are on fire all day long. They're go, 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 go. And when those hormones are constantly having to digest 6 meals a day all day long, the hormone insulin specifically causes you to store body fat. So by giving your body a break from constantly eating and constantly digesting, it allows you to access the stored body fat. That's how you lose body fat, is you have to access it. So if you have, extra body fat on your thighs or your hips or your stomach, you have to let your body actually take the fat out of the cells, break it down, and use it as energy. But if you're constantly eating all day long, supplying your body with energy from eating, your body has no reason to access stored fat. It just doesn't. So this is exactly how you're going to get past that. This is what intermittent fasting is for. Now, I also want to say this. Intermittent fasting and any of the other lessons I teach you is not mandatory. Intermittent fasting is also not for everyone. And I do a whole lesson on who should and shouldn't intermittent fast. And there are definitely populations that it's not the safest for. So I want you to see the research, see the recommendations, make a decision for yourself. So I've had women that have not done the intermittent fasting and had complete success as well. So like I say, you find out what works for you by testing and then trying again. I noticed something that said cycling your food. What does that mean? Yeah, so in the later phases, I believe it's phase 5, we get into something called carb cycling. Carb cycling is really neat. It's when you put your high carb meals closer to your workout so that you keep your body in that fat burning state longer. And I teach you all about that there. And I know from having been in your shoes, a lot of this can sound really overwhelming sometimes, but I want you to know that everything is laid out in a really simple form, and I am guaranteeing you that you'll enjoy that too. Last couple questions I'm reading through on here. Let's see. What if I can't start right away or I have a trip? Good question. Okay, so this program, like I said, you have 8 weeks to go through the lessons. It's all downloadable. I've had women not be able to start until week 2 and have complete success at this. I've had women travel in the middle and miss a week, and that's completely fine. The other thing I like to say is that you have the option. You have the option to practice this on travel. If you work and you travel all the time for work, this is an amazing opportunity for you to be able to practice on the go, to implement these skills. Because remember, these are lifelong skills. These are skills that you don't just do at home, you can do everywhere. So if I don't see any more questions on here, then I am going to wrap up for today. Thank you guys so much for being here. And like I said, if you want that fast action bonus, you head to TanessaShears.com/bonus class as a thank you for staying all the way to the end. If you have any questions, I'm going to be on my email all day, Tanessa@TanessaShears.com, and I'm going to make sure to help you make a decision which moves you forward. I am so excited. Thank you for being here. You are awesome. Now go implement these no BS habits to kick cravings, and I'm so excited for you to start your last diet makeover ever. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.